People, it's me, Kinghuman. Listen up. I want to continue our discussion. I'm calling it a discussion because it's really what it is. I'm trying to talk to you guys as if I was sitting with my friend at lunch and we were just having a discussion. And I want to give you my philosophies. I'm really encouraged by the response I saw and the comments I saw on the previous video that I posted. And if you haven't seen my previous video, the video before this, you need to go look at it. I titled it something like, "Are you an idiot or are you in the idiot bubble?" And I was really amazed and really happily surprised to see how many of you recognized and realized what I was trying to say, and you could relate to it. Because I actually expected a lot of pushback on that. And I expected a lot of pushback because people are programmed not to question their lot in life. They're programmed from birth. And I talk about that a lot in the previous video. I don't want to really re-chew that issue too much because it gets redundant. But we really are programmed by society, by our educational system, by our corporate system and our employment situations and systems. We're basically told, this is what you're good for, don't strive for anything else. Even your friends. I want you to look at the friends around you. Have you ever heard the expression, birds of a feather flock together? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to examine the people around you. Because if you start hanging around with truly successful people, your thought processes will change. If you're a plumber or if you're I don't know what you do for a living. If you're working at McDonald's, I'm not saying that to be insulting. There are people that work at McDonald's. I don't know what you do. If you're a waitress, if you're a bartender, whatever you do. If you're a carpenter. And after work, you hang around your buddies at the local bar drinking a beer, and you know, none of them are talking about improving their lifestyle, getting out of that job, that just over broke mold. They just talk about inane things that mean nothing. They're not going to improve their life. They're not going to change their situations. They're happy where they are. And that keeps you content because you're not being challenged by the people around you. However, if you move to a different strata of people, you change from the people that you associate with now. These people that are going nowhere, these people that do nothing. And you hang around with people that are truly successful and truly have achieved something in life. They broke out of the mold. Again, your thinking will change, and you're going to be able to examine that objectively as an outsider and say, wow, this guy used to be a truck driver. And he broke out of that, and now he's making huge money, and he's jet setting all over. He's living a lifestyle that I would like to lead. I need to hang out with this guy because just hanging around him, I'm going to learn how he did it. I just need to learn his philosophies. I need to learn his mindset because my mindset tells me I'm going to be stuck where I am. That's one of the things you need to do to be a success. You need to stop hanging around losers. Now, here's a perfect example. I've done this when I was a kid. And this is an exercise that you can do. When you see somebody that's really, really successful, somebody driving a fancy car, whatever, you know this person's a success. Go up to them and say, look, I'm a schlub. I'm a programmed idiot in the matrix. I'm a battery in the matrix. And I see that you're a success. Can I take you to lunch? I will buy the lunch. I'm poor ass broke as hell, but I want to buy your lunch. And just ask you what you did to break out of the mold? How did you gain your success? That's what I used to do, literally, as a kid. I would go up to successful people and take them to lunch and offer to buy them lunch. I had no money, but I wanted to get their knowledge, so I was willing to pay for it by buying them a lunch. And you know what? Some of those people were so impressed by this kid who did that, they actually did. They actually let me take them to lunch, and they told me their business ethic. They gave me their philosophies. It was so valuable. And just that, knowing that, just seeing that this person broke out of the mold and broke out of the caste system was enough to encourage me to think that I could do it. And guess what? I did. Now I have another buddy. You probably have heard me talk about him a lot. His name is Kevin, of Nick and Kevin fame. They're two kids that started in my website, the Kinghuman Elite, and they took one of these concepts and they ran with it, and now they've got a multi-million-dollar business. Well, Kevin, when he was a kid, he lived in San Diego, and he said he drove to the richest area in town, these mansions, and he knocked on the doors, and he said, look, I'm a schlub. I'm a poor schlub with nothing, and you're living in this big mansion. Can you tell me how you did it? I mean, that is balls. That's really somebody fighting to get out of the matrix. And it takes that kind of hunger. Now, some of you people don't have that hunger. Some of you people don't even know that you should have that hunger. Here's something I want you to think about. You do not know what you don't know. You don't even know what the possibilities are because you've never reached for them and you've never had any success on your own. You've only been doing your job. So, I really want you guys to think. Now, here's another thing I want you to think about. What is your definition of success? I want you to pause the video right now and come up with an answer. And then I'll tell you what the real definition of success is. All right, now, a lot of you people came up with the answer money, having a lot of money. Well, maybe. That's kind of a part of it. But I'll tell you what success is. Success is the amount of time you spend doing what you really want to do. And most of the people in a job are in a job they hate. They wouldn't do that if they didn't have to earn a living. And they didn't have to pay rent and all these things. You know, it's really insidious that people have to do something they hate so many hours a day just to make ends meet. Now, yes, if you're doing things that you really enjoy, like I do, taking a lot of vacation, taking 2 vacations a month. I work basically 1 week a month. And even that week is an abbreviated week. It's not a full work day. I get up when I want to. I make my own hours. I work very little, trust me. And I'm not saying that to brag. I just want you guys to realize that you can achieve what you want to achieve if you start thinking differently. Now, again, I'm going to reference this, but don't get all hyper on me. I did make a website called the Kinghuman Elite where I teach people money-making techniques, ways to make money online, things I do to make money. But I realized when I made that last video that there are a lot of students that I have that have the equipment. I've given them the education. I've given them the tools. I've given them turnkey businesses in a box. I've given them all these different things. I've given them the instructions. I've given them everything they need to do. And a lot of these people still haven't taken any action. They haven't moved 1 inch. They haven't done anything with the tools and the training and the education I've given them. They haven't done a thing. Now, I used to think it was because a lot of these people were afraid to fail. But now I realize it's not because they're afraid to fail. It's because they haven't been deprogrammed, and their thinking is, in other words, until I deprogram these people and let them understand that they can do whatever they want in life, they won't move. Because that programming is so strong on some of these people, it's so ingrained in them that they aspire to be something better, but they're paralyzed by the programming they've gotten all of their life. Now, when I say programming, again, let me reference the teaching system one more time on programming. Because I just got back from a trip to Las Vegas, where I live the high life. I stay in a penthouse suite, I eat the best foods, and I stay all day in the spa getting VIP massages, spa treatments, the whole bit. It's the kind of lifestyle that a king would live, a Roman emperor would live, right? As I'm flying to Las Vegas, I'm watching on my iPad a movie, and the movie was Fantastic Four. It's the new one. I don't know how it's which version it is, but it's the newest one. And in that movie, they show Reed Richards, the brain guy, the scientist guy, as a kid in school, and it's time for him to get up and do a report. Now, he gets up and he does his report on how he's going to make a matter transfer machine where he can transport matter from one place to another. And immediately the teacher pounds him down and says, "That's impossible. You can't do that. You get an F. You fail this assignment because your thinking is not based in reality. Your thinking is based in dreams." And hang on, let me do this. And it's a perfect illustration. If you look at that and dissect that, I'm sure you've run into that kind of attitude where you have some petty person, some person that has no ambition, no real world experience. He has achieved nothing, but this petty person has been placed in a position of authority over, and this is what kills me, over kids, over formulating the makeup of an impressionable mind at an impressionable age. This idiot, this asshole that knows nothing other than to regurgitate crap from a syllabus is crushing this kid's spirit. And of course, this kid, Reed Richards, is actually a genius. That this idiot teacher he can't even fathom the intellect that this kid has. And of course the kid goes on to make the machine, and that's the beginning of him getting into this institute, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's a perfect illustration. That is all around you all the time. I call it the elephant syndrome. If you've ever seen an elephant, a captive elephant at a circus, which by the way is a horrible, horrible situation. If you've seen an elephant at the circus, his rear leg has a chain around it, and the chain is poked into the ground with a stake, a little stake. And the elephant could easily break that chain and run, but the elephant doesn't do it. Why? Because he's been trained not to even try. That's a perfect analogy of how some of us have been programmed. Actually, all of us have been programmed. Now, some of you want to break that mold. Some of you want to break that chain and be a wild elephant and live your life free as it's meant to be lived. But you're afraid. You're afraid if you try to break that chain, that trainer's going to come and hit you on the head with that stick until you stop trying. Because that's effectively what's being done in our educational system, in our corporate system, everywhere you go. Your friends telling you what you cannot achieve. So you have to break free of that mentality. How do you do it? A couple of tricks that I want you guys to do is when you start hearing negative input from your parents, from your friends, from corporations, whatever, I want you to repeat a mantra in your head, inside your head. It could be anything, but it has to negate what these idiots keep inputting into you. In other words, if you're in that classroom, you read Richards, and the professor says, that cannot be done. You're an idiot. You have to say, you have to overcome that with a positive reinforcement in your head that negates the negative energy that this idiot is trying to input into you. Because if you don't resist it, eventually getting that stuffed into you over and over and over and over again, it's like a hammer pounding a nail down into a piece of wood. Eventually, you are flattened to the point where you cannot stick out. You cannot excel. You have to fight the negative programming. And the way to do that, if you can't do it by getting away from people like your parents, can't just, you're a little kid, whatever, you can't run away from your parents. You're a little kid, you're in school, you can't get out of that system, you're being bullied, whatever. You have to put positive reinforcements in replacement of the negative reinforcements that these idiots are putting into you. So come up with a little mantra, like whenever you hear negative reinforcement, mentally say, that's not true, this person is an idiot, I do not recognize them as an authority, I am my own authority, and I know my own abilities, and I will succeed. Every time you hear something negative, I want you to replay that in your head. It will deprogram you. It's one step. At least it stops the negative programming from continually battering you down. So that's one technique. Now again, I'm going to get into this more and more because I did it. I got out of the matrix, right? I got out of the bubble. And I'm one of those people that says, no man left behind. I'm willing to try and help anybody who wants to get out of the matrix. Now, some of you people don't want to get out of the matrix. Some of you people are happy with your job because you think it means security. You think it means a decent life where you don't have to do much. Not much is expected of you. But here's the thing. That comes from a time when things were different. You could, back in the 60s and the 50s, you could get a job and you could live off that money quite well. And you could retire at the end of your job, your term of service, with a gold watch and a pension. And you would supposedly be comfortable. And then you would be able to enjoy life, supposedly, on your pension because you would have free time and an income. Those days are over. That doesn't exist anymore. Now, if you're in a corporate situation and you get close, first of all, they have to have a pension in place, which is rare these days. Secondly, if you get close to where they have to pay your pension, you're going to find yourself being replaced by some young kid. And they don't have to pay your pension now. Your secure job, your security, that illusion of security that you think you had, really is an illusion these days. So it's hard to get people to think in terms of reality for today because, again, the programming, we've been programmed to think security, get that job, it's security, it's whatever. And there are some jobs out there that are secure, but the price you have to pay for them, well, again, I'm digressing into old stuff. So I really want to get into teaching people how to break out of the bubble, how to think for themselves, and this is only for people that really want to be their own person, that recognize they've been programmed and recognize inwardly that they know they're better than that. You know, some of you people, you may want to get out of the bubble, but really you don't have the skills or the fortitude that it's going to take to live outside the bubble. You have to take an inventory of yourself. If you can really take an objective look at yourself and say, look, I have what it takes. I want to get outside the bubble. I want to live an independent lifestyle. I want to make my own terms in life. And I know I can do it. Then I want to help you. I'm no man left behind, right? That's what I'm about. So I'm looking and I'm thinking about this, and I want your input on this because I don't know if it's feasible yet, but I want to set up a situation where I take a small group of people to Las Vegas and I set them up with a penthouse suite. I set them up with the best of the best meals, spa treatments. Why? Because I want you guys to feel what it's like. I want you guys to live a VIP lifestyle so that you know that this is the way you should live. And you don't have to settle for a once-a-year vacation to Disneyland or whatever the hell. You know, you don't have to live a shitty lifestyle. You can live a better lifestyle than you've been led to believe. But you have to make some drastic changes in your life. It takes effort. It's not easy. But once you do it, it'll be worth the effort. So I want your input on that, whether you think that would be a worthwhile thing to do. And of course, I will give my success training as well. I want to have a mastermind group where I give people success training to break out of the bubble. Because I think it's that important. And I'm working on many things with this right now. Why? Because I just get sick of seeing people being beaten down. I recognize it. Anyway, okay, I'm just rambling on at this point. All right, guys, appreciate your feedback. Donate a few bucks to help a sick kid at St. Jude's Research Hospital for Kids. It helps sick kids. They share their research. What could be better? All right, guys, more on this later. Maximum respect, and start thinking objectively. Look around you. See what's going on. Recognize it for what it's worth, and fight against that system. Even if it's only a mental fight in your mind, that will start to deprogram you, and then you can start moving forward. All right, guys, maximum respect.